Hello everybody and welcome to Qualifying Live for round 2 of the 9th season of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. We move away from the city of Mexico to the streets of Diriyah in Saudi Arabia. It may be a desert, but we've been plagued by rain ever since we arrived. Thankfully this morning's practice was dry. Qualifying in the race today expected to be so as well. Let's take a quick look at the drivers in the Constructors' Championship, and then Tom Dillon will be joining me in the commentary box. So after the opening in Mexico City, we're here for a double header in Saudi Arabia. 2 weeks' time, we'll be in Hyderabad, India. 4 weeks' time, we'll be in Cape Town, South Africa, before heading back to Brazil for another new race a month later. Double in Berlin before single in Monaco, double Jakarta, then to Portland, double Rome and double London rounds out the 16-race calendar for Season 9 Formula E. With victory in Mexico City, it is Jake Dennis who leads the Drivers' Championship on 26 points. He's 8 clear to Pascal Wehrlein and Lucas de Grassi. Andre Lotterer and Jake Dennis round out the top 5. Buemi scoring points as well. But Stoffel van Dorn is the last driver with points on the board. On the second page, you can see big news. Jean-Eric Vergne not scoring any points, same for Oliver Rowland. Also, Giuseppe Cameron after going well this weekend. Mortara crashing out. Bird having the weekend from hell. In the Constructors' teams standings as well, it is Avalanche Andretti leading the way on 38 points to Tag Heuer Porsche on 24 as well. DS Penske only with 1 point to their name as well. Hopefully that'll change this weekend. Well, hello everybody and welcome to qualifying as well. We're back up now with the commentary box live pictures, and just a quick note as well, Tom Dillon isn't yet in the commentary box as well. He had a bit of a train delay, so he'll be joining us after Group 1, which is going to be terribly exciting to have him in the commentary box. He'll be joining me for the race commentary as well later on. Edward Hunter's not with us this weekend as well. Well publicised his views on Saudi Arabia as well. Completely stand with him. He always misses this event as well. Tomorrow, Nick Homewood will be joining me in the commentary box with Tom as well. So we're in for hopefully a fun weekend as well. But this is it then. We're closing in. Just 2 minutes to go. Actually, 60 seconds until the qualifying groups get underway. You all know the procedure by now. We have 2 groups of 12. They're split down the field as well. The odd numbers in the championship go first. The even number of the championship goes second. And then the top 4 from each session get combined together. They will face each other in the quarterfinals, which is 4 duels. The winners of those will go through to the semi-finals, which are 2 of them, before we then go over to the final, which will have 3 points as well for pole position. We're around about 40 seconds away then from all of the action kicking up. And we've joined the World Feed pictures as well. It's the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. We move away from Mexico and we come for the 2023 Core Diriyah E-Prix as well. It's a double header and we race on a Friday as well, so hopefully nobody is going to be missing this too much as well going forward. Let's take a look then at the first group. It's on your screen now. We've got Jake Dennis, Lucas de Grassi, Jake Hughes, Antonio Feliz da Costa, Nick Cassidy, Maximilian Gunther, Oliver Rowland, Sasa Fenestraz, Dan Ticktum, Eduardo Mortara, and Norman Nato going out in Group A as well. Group B, that'll be Pascal Wehrlein, Andre Lotterer, Sebastian Buemi, Mitch Evans, Stoffel van Dorn, Jean-Eric Vergne, Nico Muller, Sergio Sette Camera, René Rast, Sam Bird, and Kelvin van der Linde as well, who is replacing Robin Freins after he had his injury a couple of weeks ago, which is a broken hand as well. He has had surgery. He will hopefully be back at some point this year. Green light is on and qualifying is underway as well. The championship leader of Jake Dennis hasn't left the track just yet as well. He's just waiting for the opportunity to head out there on the circuit. If you want to take a look at what happened in practice, the highlights are on the YouTube channel now. They streamed around about 40 minutes ago. It was Sam Burch who topped the first practice session by quite a margin. Dan Ticktum topped the second session in the Neo. First time Neo have topped a session in a long time. So there's still a lot of pace to be found, a lot of time to be found. As you can see, driver track in operation as well. Track temperature is at 20 degrees, air temperature 18 degrees. It stayed the same since this morning as well. Probability of rain at 35%, humidity at 38% as well. And we're just watching right now one of the Neos out there on the circuit of Dan Tinctum, who did top the session this morning, as we mentioned. Avalanche, Andretti, Mahindra, Neo McLaren, Neo, who are having their home race this weekend as well, coming through. And then following down with Porsche, Envision Racing, Maserati, Mahindra, Nissan, Neo, Maserati and Nissan. The cars in this session, as we already explained, you can see on your timing tower who they are. The top four go through. Tinctum into turn one then, past the start line. The start and finish line here segregated. So the start line is at the exit of 17 and the run to 18. That's where attack mode is. You can see on your driver tracker. Finish line is out of turn 21. The finish line also serves as the control line. So that is where the lap times start and stop being counted. The start line is purely for the 5 red lights. Tinctum's first sector is a 23.606 as well. So he's going fast there. Back on the accelerator, close to the wall as well. Instant torque power with these cars, over 350 kilometers an hour now, getting more and more faster. 200 mile per hour cars, you saw that now, introduction. Tinctum's second sector then is a 19.545 as he crosses the start line, down into turn 18. Heavy braking zone. We've seen a few lockups there already this weekend as well. Muller, De Grassi, Mortada all going straight on there as well. They've introduced the new emergency brake this weekend as well to try and stop any problems as well, like we saw in Mexico with Mortara having a failure into turn one. Tinctum's gone top on a 1:12.483. Oliver Rowland is second, but he's 7.2 seconds back, so he's not actually had the overall lap time change there. So he won't improve on that order as the rest of the field come through as well. Reminder, if you want to follow the same live timing links we do as well in the Discord, which is in the link tree in the description, you can see all of the live timings for every series we cover. And we're on board with Jake Hughes as he comes through the bobsleigh section now, through turn 6, 7, all the way down to turn 13. It's a myriad of corners that bounce off each other, blind apexes as well. We're always worried there'll be a massive accident there one day. Hughes' first sector time, though, is up by 0.392 of a second as he comes out of the bobsleigh section now. Hughes as well. With the number 5 cars, it's easy to spot on your tracker. He's out of turn 17 now, down the long start straight as well. Just having a look as well. We're around about 10 seconds back on our TV pictures, which is about normal to our timing screens as well. Hughes across the start line then. Second sector for him is okay. It is to 19.3, but Fenestraz 23.121 first sector, 19.203 in the second sector, getting faster there. Fenestraz is 4 tenths up on Rowland, who's now gone top on a 112.195. Hughes goes faster by 6 tenths of a second. It's a 111.586. So Hughes having the faster time. Mohammed says as well, thanks man, I'm subscribed and like, man. Oh, fantastic. And everyone do that as well. And we've got a lot more coming up this year with qualifying and the races. It's a double header, so thank you very much, Mohammed. Hello, Josh, who's in there. And hello, Adam, who says, happy Friday. Have a fantastic day and great weekend. Enjoy the motorsport action. It's going to be great. Not only have we got... Oh, and Gunther's in the wall. Gunther's in the wall. And that, for the Maserati, is another big one. And the red flag has come out. Our first red flag of the season here in ABB Formula E. We didn't have one in Mexico across the sessions. We haven't had it in the practice. And that's a huge accident to the wall. And this is going to delay for a long time the qualifying. Scott Elkin, the race director and race control, watching on. The Maserati guys looking and saying, what has happened there? Well, Max Gunther, he's 10th at the moment. Let's take a look at how it happened. So it's at the end of the bobsleigh section. He's locked up on the dust. He's gone straight into the wall, and it's a heavy impact. Here's the radio.
Long earlier than that. Here's his radio.
Crashed. Yeah, you okay, Max? Are you okay?
Crashed, are you okay? So he's locked up. I think, where is he on the track? It's at turn 11. So he's come in, he's locked up on the inside front left, he's gone straight on into the wall, the front right's disintegrated away from him, it's pushed him up in the air as well, ever so slightly. The car is up in the air slightly on the barrier. But it is a full frontal impact, and the red flag has come out. And they've also stopped quite a lot of the cars on the track. You can see as well, that's what the greyed out is on the track. That it's registering Fenestraz, Hughes, Mortado da Costa, Nato and Cassidy all stopped on the circuit. But it is a red flag. Gunther's looking okay. He's in the car. We're on board with him now. He looks okay, but everyone's going to come to a stop. 7 minutes and 3 seconds on the control board. And the red flag is out. So let's take a quick look at the times so far in this session as well. Hughes is also second. Just got back into the pit lane. So Fenestraz on top, 1:11.169. Hughes second, 1:11.586. Third Mortara. Fourth is Da Costa as well. As we're losing a bit of pictures up here in the commentary box as well, so we're just adjusting that. The roller being put on to try and get Gunther's car out of the wall. They've brought the tractor onto the circuit as well, which is always slightly alarming. But quick work shall be done. And I think we're having some radio there before we lost TV pictures.
Hey Max, this is Scott from Race Control. Feel free to get out of the car. The marshal's now in attendance and they're going to recover the car. Let us know if you need any medical assistance.
Copy. Yeah, I'm all good. Don't worry about me.
So that is Scott Elkin. Jack.
I mean, Scott Elkin's the man in the middle there, and Gunther saying he's all good. And he will head back to the pit lane. Right, let's see it again then for Gunther. Here he is arriving. He's all locked up on the left front.
Huge impact.
That's a big hit.
Huge. It's gone straight in.
If we can work out.
Well, we're trying to, but our TV pictures keep freezing up in the commentary box as well to see what's going on. So it's quite difficult at the moment to tell. But, red flag with 7 minutes 3 to go. So he turns in. He's locked up on entry. And the brakes have just all 4 brakes have locked as well. That's really strange to see that part of the track. So he's flipped the car in. He's not braking that part of the track. So he's turned in. The brakes have locked and gone straight on. He's had another brake failure. Oh, they're moving now as they're pulling the car out. So unless he's just turned in, hit the brakes ever so slightly because he feels like he was carrying too much speed and just hit the wall. But he went in all locked up as well. Front regen system this year as well. Rear brake system for the harvesting, where's where the emergency brake is this weekend as well. All cars are fitted with that emergency brake. It's like a handbrake on a car. If the fronts fail, you pull the emergency brake. I know handbrakes are the emergency brake as well in a car, so many people always don't know that as well. They think, oh, the handbrake is just to stop you moving down a hill, or when the car is stationary when you take your foot off the brake. No, handbrakes are the emergency brake as well. You can pull that if the car won't stop with the main brakes. It's a backup system that's been implemented in these electric cars. As we saw with Sam Bird as well back in Mexico, he had no brakes in practice too and went straight onto the wall. Big impact as well. Looking at it, front suspension completely done on both sides. The tub looks okay. The nose has been broken off as well. So that's a big suspension job to be done. Gunther at the moment will start at the back row of the grid, 21st on the grid, but I think that's a pit lane start. Looking at that, it's too big of a damage not to be a pit lane start. McLaren looking a bit worried. Now don't forget also, it's a 12-minute session, but you are still required by the regulations to set a full power lap time inside the first 6 minutes. And looking at it, everyone has done so. So that's okay news to me that everyone's set a lap time. They'll then go to full power.
But he has done, did he not do a... I think he...
That's Roger Griffiths at Andretti talking on.
Yeah, he did his build lap.
Yeah, they're just checking as well. We heard that. They're just checking, did they do their build-up laps as well? Yes, they did. Everyone did. Jay Penske, DS Penske owner and team principal, watching on as well. And with the DS powertrains looking cool as well. And a very interesting run. Nikki.
Full of Maserati MPG, James Foster. First and foremost, I mean, that was a big impact hit. Is Max all right?
He's okay. Straight away from the radio was the first thing we asked him. He seems that he's okay, no injuries. Obviously, high-speed accident, a lot of damage. he's not sure what happened, and neither are we at this point. So yeah, we need to see what caused that. But yeah, difficult one to start qualifying.
Really tricky one. Obviously, given the fact that even to get the car ready for the race, I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of analysis done when
We've lost TV pictures again. Apologies for
the
that.
car comes back. But do you think it's possible?
Honestly, at this point, we have no idea. Now we just want the guys to go and check on the spare chassis, what we'd need to build it up.
It's a huge hit. You can hear the impact of it as well as we lose TV pictures again. The internet's been a bit
we're not
tricky
sure
there.
the damage on his race car, so yeah, it's going to be a tough one for the boys this afternoon.
Definitely keeping them busy.
We've lost it again as well up here in the comms box. It's really tricky.
And, you know, in terms of coming into today's session, how was Max feeling? You know, how's he? Yeah, how was he looking forward?
We keep losing our pictures with Nicky, which is disappointing.
I think he was really fast at the end of practice. He put in a couple of really good sectors before he boxed at the end of practice, which would have put him first or second. So yeah, he had a lot of confidence. Yeah, unfortunately, we need to get the car back. We need to analyse the data, see what happened. I think that's the first thing. But just grateful that he's okay.
Absolutely. And of course, you've still got the other side of the garage. Edo Mortara is going to, well, he's had some fantastic performance here in the past. How confident is he feeling today?
Well, I think after what's happened so far, I think I'll reserve judgment on that one. But I think he's in a good place. Let's see what we can do with Edo.
Yeah, I mean,
Nicky's mic's now actually switched off. The TV direction has not been swell today. Yeah, so Nicky's mic's disappeared. Yes, okay, so Nicky's mic has now disappeared completely as we take a look at Jean-Eric Verne.
I think we lost Nicky there with James Rossiter.
Yeah, just proving it wasn't me who lost the audio there. It wasn't me, I promise. It was the problem there. Okay, so who's in the duels at the moment? Fenestraz, Hughes, Mortara and Acosta at the top four. They're in the duels at the moment. 0.5 of a second separate them. But they're the only one who's done a full power lap is Fenestraz and Hughes as well. And this is going to be a bit of a double session now. Usually, as we saw in Mexico City, the qualifying there, both group stages, nobody came into the pit lane. They all stayed out on the track, did cool down laps, then more push laps as well. It was a constant running stream. And here in Dewey, it's the first time that they've actually had the red flag come out all season. So everyone's going to have a disrupted run now. They're holding. We haven't had, I don't know why the McLaren guys are holding Jake Hughes, because we've had no official word yet of when the green light goes on. Redzi is down there at the Nissan Sebastian Buemi.
Yes, definitely. But we hope that Max is fine, first of all. And yeah, the session should restart soon, so let's see.
From a mental standpoint, how hard is it to reset and go again, especially when he was doing so well?
Well, qualifying is already very tough because it's all happening in 1-2 laps, really. So keeping focus in these circumstances can be difficult, but they are professional drivers, so this is part of the job, and let's see.
And to add to what you're saying is a lot of people are saying it's an unpredictable track, it's dusty, a lot of things could come down to qualifying, so we really want a good performance to make the duels.
Yeah, plus in this...
Oh, lost picture again. So I tell you what, it's the Fire Stick that we're using to watch the qualifying because it's not on television, and it just doesn't seem to want to work with us today in terms of having any sort of connection, which is really odd. Here we go.
More than many others, it's very important to start ahead because of what you said. So it's important to be during the race ahead instead of behind. And let's see. I mean, let's hope we have a good result. Sasha is very fast. He proved it already in Mexico in qualifying. For being a rookie driver, is really impressive. So we are very pleased with that. But fingers crossed, we are still at the beginning of the session.
Is there a sense of pride when you see such a young driver? He's experienced, we know this already, but to come here and perform so well on his debut?
Absolutely, absolutely. I guess, I mean, all credits to him. But so far, we are just at the beginning, of course, and there is a lot to learn for the team and for him. But so far, he proved that we took the right decision when we picked among different rookies.
Okay, let's go on with Jack. With the nose cam, Jack.
Just immediately locked the left front. Yeah. You can hear hear it from that onboard. And the breaking point, I mean, maybe it was a bit too aggressive too soon. But they won't know until they get the car back to the garage if there was a failure of any sorts or if it was a driver error.
So there is the rescue car returning to the pit lane again. Looks as though the car itself is staying down there, so that'll be a tough one for the team if it is indeed staying down there. We'll see whether they get on the back of the or not. Here comes Gunter.
Let's listen.
I was about saying really sorry. Don't really understand what happened. I locked the front like quite instantly, and then I was just trying to not get it locked and somehow make the corner, but I just, as a passenger, I felt some understeer and the front not being fully ready in the first few corners.
Well, the important thing there is that he's okay. What exactly is going on with our TV pictures today? I have no clue. With the fact that my entire screen has now frozen out there as well at the moment up here in the commentary box. The car is still out there. We've got audio though. Back to Jack.
Saying really sorry. Felt he had a bit of understeer in the first couple of corners and then locked up. It doesn't feel like Gunter's. I wouldn't say he's expecting to find some information on the data that explains that it wasn't his fault necessarily. I would suggest from that kind of reaction.
No, at this point, no one's going to be placing blame on either side of the garage. I mean, at the end of the day, that car needs to be fixed as soon as possible.
It's got Elkin, race director. Is he going to say anything?
For the race, but it's hard to believe. That's a lot of damage. They're not getting the car back.
Yeah.
And
session will restart soon. We go green again.
Session will restart in 5 seconds.
That's a quick green flag. Away we go.
Managers, this is race control. This is about under a 1 minute warning. Under a 1 minute warning.
So that was a little earlier on. Under a minute ago though, and the session gets back underway. So
wow.
A bit of a delay, but we're going again. And now it'll be interesting. I presume now everyone
has
will
to
just
stay on track.
Yeah, exactly. They'll leave the pits and pound round.
No time to pit.
No, they've got to go for this one now. We go green again.
Maybe we'll see Nato, Roland and Fenestraz wait in the pits for a little longer so they can try and do their lap at the peak of the tyres, but
and the track's still dirty.
Yeah.
So the drivers who are last to cross the finish line, we can expect them to have an advantage in track state.
So 6 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Roland remaining in the pit lane. Roland was a driver who did a bit of traffic jiggery pokery, didn't he, a few years ago in the groups, messing up Mitch Evans and I think René Rast's day. But different scenario now, but they will still be fighting, I think, a little bit to be last on track.
Yeah,
we
are.
haven't seen sort of the nonsense that we saw in the previous years, but it was still quite key to be last on track, was it? And,
yeah.
And how much, because we didn't see too much, messing around.
No, like I said, the car that's going to be last across the finish line to start their final lap. By the time runs out, they're going to have the advantage in track state.
Well, it's going to look very entertaining as the session is underway. Mortara on a lap time then as well, looking quick. Managed to get our main TV pictures back, which is good news as well. Mortara dicing through the curves as well, looking mighty as our pictures fade again as it hits 1 o'clock as well. But Mortara battling through out of turn 17. Accelerate hard. This is past the accident zone now as well, where we just saw Gunther hit the wall. Is it going to be a good enough time for him to come through? I think so.
Even if you miss the apex by a couple
He's
of
still
inches,
pushing.
The grip reduction towards the outside of the track is like a cliff.
Kelvin van der Linde was saying he couldn't believe, and we'll talk about him a little later, he's making his debut this weekend. He said he couldn't believe how much it's like you've got to be on those train tracks, otherwise you're in trouble.
And this track is notorious for that because of the dust that we're speaking of.
Mortara through the final corner and out across the line. No improvement for him, a second slower than previously. We're on board here with Nick Cassidy, who jumps into second place in the Envision. Hughes now goes fastest in the McLaren. He's followed across the line by Jake Dennis, who goes into second place with 4 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Degrassi jumps up into third spot. Fenestraz still in the pits then. So Fenestraz still in the pits for Nissan, so he's feeling like the peak of the tyres are a bit later than everybody else reckons. So that's an interesting alternate strategy for Fenestraz.
Yeah, he's confident in his ability to go out there and get it done on one lap.
So
Brave
everybody
call.
now having done their push laps will cool down a little. Hughes, Dennis, Degrassi, Fenestraz. The top four. DaCosta, Cassidy, Mortara, Roland, Tictum and Nato, the 10 that are still out there. Gunter in the barriers and out of the session.
Radio Dennis.
You could afford a second cool, but it would be tight. You could afford a second.
So they can do a second cool lap. They've got the time.
You could do a second cool lap if you want, but it would be tight. Tictum nice and wide coming out of turn 14, right up towards the barriers. He's quick after the first two sectors.
Tictum's looking
so
quite
is Norman
quick.
Nato actually in the Nissan, so keep an eye on his clock as well down in the bottom right. 3 minutes to go, and it's all about whether Tictum here will finish this lap, do a cool and then go again, whereas Dennis is doing a double cool before going again. There really is no unified strategy on the best way to do things. Hughes has pitted, so that's interesting.
Yeah, but Dan Tictum's gone to the top on a 1:10.792. Jake Hughes into the pits, as Jack said, is into P2 as well. Roland's looking mega fast as well, whether or not he can take something through with this one as well. We are really into the interesting part of qualifying.
Strange that Hughes is in the pits.
Do you think that, does it cool the tyres better just sitting in the pit lane rather than doing a cool down lap?
No, you want wind on the tyres.
Interesting. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Mortara currently 10th quickest. Maserati MSG 10th and 11th.
Oh, we've got
Mortara's been in the wall.
Mortara's hit the wall. Mortara's got a broken rear diffuser. So Eduardo Mortara has whacked the wall coming out the back half of the track. We're on a different computer at the moment trying to look at the TV pictures. But Mortara has hit the wall. It hasn't caused a red flag, but he's 10th at the moment. So both Maseratis having problems in qualifying as well. And this is just ludicrous at the moment as he comes back through as well. He's got a broken rear right suspension as well. So both Maseratis starting at the back. The miseries of Mexico continuing interior as well. He's limping back to the pit lane as joining the commentary team is Tom. Hi, Tom. I don't know how much of qualifying you've seen. We're still in Group 1, but this is absolutely nuts.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was sat on the train and I was just checking where we were up to it. And, well, I practically ran home, but it seems to have been a crazy session so far. I saw there was a couple of red flags and, well, just seems to be total madness as we expect from this Diriyah truck.
It certainly is at the moment, as Mortara's managed to get back to the pit lane. I hope you've got a YouTube stream up using the ×2 mode. Right, here's what happened then with Mortara. He's coming, into the same section at turn 11, comes in, gets on the sand, loses the rear, and then goes backwards into the wall, breaking the diffuser. So I hope you've caught up on the YouTube stream using the ×2 technique.
Well, I've never heard of the ×2 technique, so we'll try and figure that out, Josh.
Well,
but I've seen the accident, and
yeah,
it just seems to be that awkward when you get offline ever so slightly, just onto the dust. Perhaps it quite likes to settle the dust in one of the Arabian tracks like this, and just into the wall. Once the car's got to that point, you can't really get it back. Just trying to watch the replay properly now, able to limp it home, and that is the encouraging thing from Mortara, and that's obviously why we haven't gone to the red flag. We're just seeing it again here on the screen that you've got up, Josh. Just again, I think it was literally just dipped a wheel onto that sort of offline section, and he's into the wall.
Yeah, not a great section as well at the moment. The checkered flag is out. The session is over. We'll hopefully have everything fixed before the start of the next session at the moment. But it's Roland who's gone fastest as well. Norman Nato is 5th on the board as well. He hasn't got anything up either on the timing screens. Roland still trying hard as well as we come back through. Roland, Tictum, DaCosta, Degrassi at the moment. The 4 going through. No one's setting improvement lap times out there at the moment as we try and take a look. Jake Hughes, there we go. Brilliantly top. topped it as well with Roland second, Tictum third, DaCosta fourth as well. Degrassi currently out of the Duels segment as well. As he come into the pit lane, I'm trying to have a look. Yeah, Degrassi's gone out to sixth now. Up to fourth goes Cassidy. So Cassidy's done a big improvement out there on the circuit as they come back through. Dennis is fast as well, sectors 1 and 2. So can he get anything through? No, finishes in 6th place across the line. And I don't think as well Degrassi has done it. Degrassi is 4th, Tictum 3rd, and that completes the session. So it is Hughes, Roland, Tictum and Degrassi, the 4 going through. Degrassi did get it in the end as well. Cassidy goes down to 5th as they had a lap time deletion, so Degrassi does go through. Crazy end to the first session as usual, Tom, but that took a long time as well, about 20-odd minutes to get that session sorted.
Well, help me in my quest to get home in time, Josh.
Yes.
But no, I think there with Tara, a bit lucky actually, everyone, that they weren't able to catch up to that yellow flag and have their lap impeded. But it is indeed Degrassi, Tictum, Roland and Hughes who go through. And I'm quite impressed actually with Dan Tictum so far this season. Obviously, he sort of lost the plot last time out. He did qualify reasonably well and then just lost the plot in the end. But it's quite impressive actually, I think, the fact that he's able to drag this Neo car up into contention. I'm happy for Neo, the fact that they have been able to bring somewhat of a competitive package this year, which has been lacking over the last couple.
Mortara then, right at the exit onto turn 17, losing the rear of the cars exactly where we had the accident earlier on. Just gets on the dust as well and just spins him round. And of course, more power with these cars. He's broken the rear diffuser as well. So as we try and get our TV pictures, I don't think I can share this for quality. So Tom, if you just get YouTube up and put the speed on ×2 until it automatically changes back, you'll be live with me on the TV pictures. And then I'll try and figure something out as well, because it's absolutely no hope at the moment what I'm trying to do on the call. So the end of the first session then, it's Jake Hughes, Oliver Rowland, Dan Tictum and Lucas Degrassi is the top 4. They'll go through to the next session. Nick Cassidy, Jake Dennis, Antonio Felix DaCosta, Norman Neto, Sasa Fenestraz is 9th, and Juan Mortara 10th. And Maximilian Gunther goes in to 11th on the board as well. And I have no idea if that's worked for you or not, Tom. I really hope it has, so that you can now see the same pictures as me up here in the comms box.
I've got a waving Saudi Arabian flag, if that's where we are.
Round about the same, yeah.
Round about the same. There we go. We work out now. Switch to the Nissan side in the pit lane. So I'm assuming we're about right. So I think we can.
Yes.
We can. At least I've got live timing up, and that is actually live. So I suppose it all works out in the end, Josh.
Just about as well. Now, hopefully my little party trick's going to work as well soon, that we can have the same things on the TV pictures. But unfortunately as well, this is not working out the way we're supposed to do. Let's go down to Nikki down at Maserati, I think.
You can see behind me, we've got we did have Alejandro Gag. I don't know if you caught him on camera, but we've also got Edo Mortara's car. I don't know whether you could see how much damage, probably not in detail, a fair amount of damage done to the back here. The engineers have been assessing whether they need to do a complete rebuild of the rear of the car. They haven't made a decision yet, but ultimately, fingers crossed, they're hoping they can repair what is, but it sounds like it's more likely they will have to rebuild the whole of the rear of the car. The question is, are they going to be able to get it back and ready on the track for the race? It's going to be really hard given the fact that they've not got one, but they've got 2 cars to rebuild. And just generally, you can sense the atmosphere. I mean, it really has taken an absolute turn for the worse. So this is, it's going to be a really, really tough day in the office for these guys. They're going to have to dig deep and work really hard to get the cars, both cars, ready for the race.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah, really
I've now got to do this weird muting thing as well because we've lost the sound for qualifying here. But the car's just getting ready for Group 2, which will see Verline, Lotterer, Boemi, Evans, Van Dorn, Vern, Muller, Sergio Sete Camera, Rast, Bird, and Kelvin van der Linde out there too. And fingers crossed, Tom, it's going to be an easier session, but we are struggling with the TV pictures, I can tell you that, to get everything sorted because it's just not wanting to work with us today. Nothing changes.
Excuse my absolute pitiful lack of notes, but is Kelvin van der Linde making his debut today? I don't recall him racing in Mexico. That's an incredible signing. Kelvin van der Linde is actually one of my favourite racing drivers around the world. He's absolutely spectacular in GT3. It'll be interesting to see what he can do in F3. I'm a bit disappointed, actually. I follow him on Instagram and everything, and I didn't know he was in Formula E. So
really?
Is this a first time? Is this like a full time thing, or
it's just temporary at the moment because unfortunately, Robin Freins broke his wrist last time out as well. Yes. So this is literally just temporary that he's going to be here. And I don't want to say anything, Tom, but I think I might have got the pictures working. So while I carefully move things around again more and more, we might actually have something ready to go for Q2. It lasted a while, but this will not be the same for the race because it's on Eurosport, so we can easily watch the race. Hey, I think it might actually be working. If I throw that up, yes, it is. Good. So it means I can also share the pictures with you as well. So
there we go. Wonderful.
Group 2 coming up then as well. Although I'm slightly worried because that picture was the same about 3 minutes ago before I changed everything over. So I might have to do a couple more live syncs. Yes, I do. So it's not completely up yet as well. But green light goes on now, and away we go for the next part of qualifying. Group 2 is underway, and another 12 minutes of running then as well. You can hear we're speeding through to try and get the same TV pictures as you have back home. But the cars head out with 11 minutes and 40 seconds to go of this session. Tell you what, it's dramatic how much I'm going to be on the point here to try and make sure I don't lose it out. I want to get it at about 48. There we go. Because then it hopefully will work. So me and Tom now finally have the same TV pictures that you are seeing back home as the cars head out onto the circuit. All is well as Group B gets going as well, Tom. Do you like this circuit? I know you dip in and out of Formula E as well. You've covered it, I know, with me on EERC, but what do you think? Do you like this circuit? Is it one of your favourites?
In terms of racing, I think it's actually one of the nicer Formula E circuits. I think under the lights as well, it looks particularly impressive. I think I only got to watch one of the races last year, because I remember the second one I was, I believe, commentating something with you, and obviously Alex Lynn had his massive accident. But yes. No, I'm not.
Picture's gone
I'm a fan. Yeah, it has. There we go. I think it's just buffering a little bit. Yeah, I think it's a nice circuit. I think, again, one of the main features that even I noticed on the sim actually is that, obviously on the sim it's caused by a different reason, it is how dusty offline is, particularly in the Formula E cars. I mean, we go to Saudi Arabia and Formula 1 and it's dusty offline, but it's not quite to this extent. That I don't know what it is about the tyres, whether it's the fact that they're not on slicks, but they don't seem to rubber in the track as nicely, and I feel like it's pronounced in a lot of these Middle Eastern circuits. You know, you think about Marrakesh as well, where you go offline and you find yourself in the wall, as we saw with Matara.
Yeah, and he's just going wide and then lost it completely. He's now out of qualifying as well. Starts at the back of the grid along with his teammate as well. Dennis didn't go through either in that session. So the championship leader not progressing through to the quarterfinals either, which is a big shocker. Da Costa not as well. At the moment, as we've lost TV pictures again, but Bird is on a lap time. First sector time is looking good. Kelvin van der Linde has just gone fastest in the first sector, 23.163. He's had a total of an hour in a Formula E car, and technically even less than that, because his first practice session, he didn't get out on the track until 10 minutes to go. So about 40 minutes, Tom, and he's still going quick.
I was really impressed with van der Linde actually at Dubai 2021. That was when I first saw him race. I know he's been around the GT scene for much longer than that, but that was the first time I properly saw him race. I think he finished P2 in that event, but he drove very, very well. And then again, he's been very prolific in DTM. Obviously, the obvious happened in DTM, but you know,
yes,
he put a title challenge there. And then Spa last year, again, the Spa 24 hours. I forget what it was. His team started last, and I think he gave his stint away when he was in 10th or something. He is a very, very world-class driver, racing driver, Kelvin van der Linde, and as he goes second on the grid, it honestly would not surprise me if he was in the latter stages of this knockout qualifying.
getting absolutely fantastic at the moment. Apologies that we keep dipping in and out with the audio as well. We're trying to keep the same thing as you are back home. Apparently, who's that Apt Cooper we're talking to? I don't think it's Muller, is it, at the moment? Gunther, I think they're having a little bit of a word as well, but all looking good. Van Dorn comes across the line to start his lap time as well. Evans set the fastest first sector. Bird set the fastest second sector after misery last time out for Sam Bird in Mexico. He's looking okay here. His time was a 1:17. Bird goes top, 1:10.632. So Bird is the word in Diriyah. He's going straight forward as well. At the moment, Van Dorn trying to find something as well to capitalise on the overall march of things as well. We're just fast forwarding at the moment. Where does Van Dorn finish across the board? As he goes up, but Wemmy top, 1:10.402. That's changed. Bird second, Evans third as well. Yeah, set a camera. Lotterer goes up. Van der Linde still down there as well. Van Dorn is somewhere. Evans, as I said, P4. I was trying to calculate everything to make sure we're watching the same pictures. It's really difficult. And to do the commentary of the opening session times as well. Where on earth are we seeing now? Van Dorn's 7th only across the board as well. We're now with Boemi.
If it helps at all, I could do that. And I don't know if that helps.
Might do. No, it won't, because it's the same thing. But anyway, it's because it's getting the audio of the cars. That's the trickiest part.
Oh, right.
But even though you can still hear Jack bleeding through. But still, Boemi down across the start line as well. We've got 7 minutes to go of this qualifying session. Into the braking zone. What time can he do? Well, he's flying through at the moment, trying to find something. But even so, it just keeps bleeding away from us, the time as well. We're on about 3 seconds back, but at least it's working at the moment. Now 15 seconds. Boemi across the line. 1:10.349. Despite the fastest third sector, doesn't improve his overall time. But he was off by 0.058 of a second there, Tom.
Again, Brummy's one of those drivers. I think he's in the Sam Bird camp. You start to sense that whilst his seat is safe in Formula E, it's not going to be a long time before he has to start to string some challenges together in terms of championship-wise. I think Sam Bird especially is his. Pascal Wehrlein actually is purple in the second sector. This is a man who has been a mainstay in Formula E for a few seasons now, and definitely looking at getting into these duels up to second half of sector 3. Currently around about the 1 minute mark, heading through the last couple of corners. This could be a big lap from Pascal Wehrlein.
He's going to push as hard as he possibly can as well. Wehrlein, can he do it in that Porsche? It was strong last time out as well with a podium in Mexico City. He's level on points with Degrassi. Degrassi is just into the duels as well with being P4 in Group 1. Wehrlein second. 1:10.546. And what is this replay with Kelvin van der Linde? Has he brushed the wall? Yes, he has.
Just had a slight brush, I think, on the right-hand side, but he's okay. No damage by the looks of things. Sitting down in 10th, so maybe I was slightly wrong to hype him up as much as I did, but I'm keeping the faith in Kelvin van der Linde.
Nico Muller will not take part in this session as well. I've just been told on the text chat. Apparently he had a word with Nicky while we were having technical troubles earlier on in the session. Lotterer progressing hard as well. Hello to Cameron's dad. ID says, let's go Van Dorn. Antolia says, Maserati, disaster as well. Paul Maserati says, Josh as well. So that's what res means on the driver tracker. Yeah, with the recoveries as well coming through in the regen areas. Van Dorn still 9th. Can he get anywhere near? Wehrlein is okay at the moment. I think he's on a slow down lap. Vern, on the other hand, in the other DS Penske looking good. Bird 4th. Van Dorn 7th. Vern goes up into 3rd place now. So he's found some time out there on the circuit. We're around about 18 seconds difference on the TV pictures at the moment to our timing screens. I know it's not that big of a difference, but let's hear from Stoffel Van Dorn on the team radio.
That's P7 for now, missing a tenth, bit more than a tenth. Use DAS if you need.
Did he say use DAS? That's something that's not in Formula E, for sure, the DAS system. Kelvin van der Linde, though, going absolutely fantastic. As I said, around about 40 minutes in a Formula E car. He had a lot of problems in first practice. He was out there in shakedown, so I suppose it does add up to he had about an hour in the car. but he's done a lot of sim work. He was blasting around the track at the Apt Simulator all week. He said he was very nervous until he completed Shakedown. He's 10th at the moment. He'll out-qualify Muller, and he's only 7/10 off the pace of Buemi. Van der Linde, I think you are correct there, Tom. It's very good that we can praise him as much as he's doing. It's going well.
Yeah, it's going well. I think he would have liked to be a little bit further up the order. Maybe not the qualifying knockout that I perhaps had hyped him for. But either way, you think about the difference between a Formula E car and a GT car. Obviously, his background very much is Verline's a little bit upset with somewhat.
Is that Tick? No, who is that? It's Sete Camera. So Verline has blocked Sete Camera, and Sete Camera's been blocked by Verline. Let's take a look on a replay. So Sete Camera is... Oh, he's stopped on the racing line. I thought that's what we're on board with. So Verline's coming at full speed, and Sete Camera breaks on the racing line and starts to turn in him as well. So the Neo might get a penalty for that one as well. It's a 60th Formula E race as well. Oh, for Verline, that is such a nasty block as well, Tom, into the last corner there.
Yeah, that'll do it, I think, in terms of justifying Verline's frustrations. He's basically stayed right on the racing line. Verline did have space to turn into the corner. There he is, Sete Camera, purple in Sector 2, undeterred there from his previous antics. See what he can do in this third sector, heading up to that chicane. He's just around the 1 minute mark, so we'll wait and see what happens as he crosses the line. It looks like this could be a fairly decent lap for Sergio Sete Camera. Perhaps got over 110, won't be pole position. He'll go 2/10 back into third.
Brilliant time as well, but he is under investigation for impeding another driver, as you can see on your monitors as well, with the watch long down there at the bottom. So that's even worse news that we're going to be expecting. Buemi, Verline, Sete Camera and Vern, the top four. Verline, yeah, there it is for Sete Camera too. So if he gets kicked out, it would currently put Lotterer into the dual system. The FIA are going to have to work really quick on that. Let's hear from him now on the radio.
These mirrors don't work. The mirrors don't work. Cannot see anything. I keep that in mind.
I'm sure they don't, Sergio. I'm sure they don't work as well, despite the fact that the mirrors have increased in width this year and are currently bigger than Formula One's mirrors. I'm sure they don't work on a Formula E car. It's just a little bit of nonsense, though, isn't it?
Well, that's just a racing driver excuse so that the penalty points are sort of lessened as the FIA go, okay, blame your mirrors. Here's Buemi, by the way. He's, I believe this is actually an outlap for Sebastian Buemi. We'll see if he can attack once more. 47 seconds to go on the television pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be interested to see if Buemi can beat that time. Calvin van der Linde is sitting down in 10th position for those interested. Bird, purple in sector 1.
Bird's going mad. He's 3/10 up at the moment. He's 6th. Can he get through? We're waiting for the last corner. Verline starts lap time. Rene Rast is someone to watch as well. He's kept consistent across the boards. Here he is now in the fast sector 1 and 2. I think Bird's got traffic. I can't see, but one of the Neos in the way is Rast as well as he come in. Ahead of him is, I think, Vern across the line. Rast goes top with a 110.265. He's a 10th clear at the moment to Buemi. Roundabout Bird goes 3/10 faster. Bird is quick interior after Misery of Mexico with not finishing after a drive shaft failure. Sam Bird is top, 110.942, and the checkered flag is out. The session concludes. Who is going to be the last of the runners as well? Lotterer, he's 8/10 down and has fallen down to 7th position. He won't set any improvements. Evans at the moment as well. He's a 10th down, so he might just break back in to the top 4 for the dual positions as well.
Absolutely. Here goes Mitch Evans. Can he jump up? 9th position at the moment, crossing the line, final corner. The car bouncing around. They look so nervous, these Formula E Gen 3 cars crossing the line. What can Evans do? He goes into, by the looks of it,
3.
Hasn't flashed up. 3rd.
That's brilliant. So it's Bird, Buemi, Evans at the moment. Buemi's going to go there. Rast into 4th. Verline, Sete Camera, Vern, Lotterer, Van Dorn and Van der Linde not going through. But we didn't expect that from Van der Linde. We're again not seeing the pace from the DS Penske's as well. With Vern and Van Dorn as well. Their powertrain. So much in testing, both with them and Maserati. Both failing to get through to the duels in both segments of qualifying in Season 9. we had the Cheetah team principal on the commentary of Mark Preston last time out as well. I bet Mark is a bit happy that he's not having to put up with this at the moment with the DS powertrains not going through. But Bird, Buemi, Evans, Rast are going through to the next segment of qualifying.
And now for the knockouts,
Yes.
which are a can of worms of their own, as I'll do TV pictures again for a moment.
Gets all
Perfect
the-
time to do it,
Yeah.
I suppose.
He gets all the way through the session, then decides to pack up at the end. So I suppose that's even more annoying. But we can still see, we've both got a YouTube channel open separate, so we can still see some action at least as well. Just we lose our audio, which is really hard to do. So what they'll do now is, instant involving setting camera will be investigated after the session. I've just been informed, as you can see as well. So what they'll do now is, with the way the quarterfinals and the duels work now is that the slowest drivers face off against each other and the fastest drivers face off against each other. So we'll get the groups announced shortly as well as they come into the pit lane. Bird, though, biggest improvement here in Season 9 at the moment, after being last time out and not doing well at all. He had a total of about, I think someone calculated it was 1 hour, 10 minutes he spent on the track last time as well in Mexico. So he's doing a lot better now as Evans too goes through, as Rast as well. Just writing out the notes in the comms box before we get it through. Interviews coming up shortly. I'll try and get the TV pictures back, as they do like to fail me. But at least we don't have to put up with this later, Tom, when we'll have Eurosport as well to watch it on.
Thankfully, you know, I think Bird actually over the last few seasons has started to make a case for himself as the most overrated driver in Formula E. He seems to be so highly rated in the Championship Challenge every year, and then he just falls away. And the last couple of seasons, particularly since he moved away from Virgin, have been really, really poor. And I think this might just be his chance to finally mount a title challenge. I mean, it's going to be difficult for him, but I want to see him do it. I really do. He's probably the most prolific Formula E driver to not have won a championship.
Victory in every season bar last year.
Yeah, exactly. And it's starting to fall away. And this is a man who, by the way, was tipped to go into F1 around 2012.
Yes,
and,
yeah.
well, he's just fallen by the wayside, and now he's struggling in Formula E. But we'll be interested to see what he can do here. It's going to need to be a very strong showing from him.
So I think Van Dorn as well and Vern, the shockers, not going through in that session as well after the promise of pre-season testing. Hasn't really seemed to work out that way. We're getting our TV pictures back slowly, which is good as well. Van Dorn and Van der Linde coming through. And I'm just going to throw over to Jack for a second because he's got some news.
That was Bird crossing the line.
Oh, it's Bird crossing the line.
Karun Chandok.
Karun, down to you.
Thanks, Jack. I've got the fastest laps from both of those group sessions. So let's get into it here. We've got Sam Bird on the left and Jake Hughes on the right in the McLaren. So heading down towards turn one, both drivers really neat and tidy. And this is the first thing I picked up here, is Jake is really focusing on making sure that he doesn't use too much width. He's using less of the road all the way through this first sector of the lap. If I draw, Sam is probably there. So there's a slight difference between their trajectory in this this whole first sector, really. Jake really a very minimalist style of driving, I would say, in terms of picking his line and picking his moments of where to use the track. He's definitely using a bit more steering lock at certain places, but Sam, I think, has got the car really well dialed in. The rear of the Jaguar seems very stable. What is impressive, I think, in coming into turn 14, you can see here, Jake has got very good confidence on the brakes. And as we come towards 16, I'll just slow it down. You see both drivers here. This is a really interesting part of the track for me. Sam using a tighter line than Jake. You can see he's much closer to that inside wall than Jake is. And that's something we've seen all day long. That's just a line that Sam prefers. But I think this is where the McLaren is particularly strong. Under braking, Jake really has a lot of confidence to attack the brake pedal and get the nose into the apex. And for me, when they get to the dual stages, that's going to be fascinating because the track would develop a bit more He's going to have more grip underneath him as the track's cleaned up as well. And then we get to the final corner. So I think both of these drivers have delivered really clean laps. That is the most important part here, is you got to make sure you don't overdrive it. If the drivers go just a meter too wide, they get offline and they will end up losing, first of all, the racing line, and therefore losing lap time. So great driving from both drivers. Let's see what they can do in the duels.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Karun Chandok. And the first duel has been announced as Roland and Tictum, coming shortly as well. Hopefully, we're going to get this sorted. But I'll tell you what, Tom, I'm looking forward more and more to the race where we don't have to put up with this YouTube at the moment. I knew it was going to be a problem ever since last night when it started failing on me at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, Dan Ticktum actually is another one of those drivers who's just been sent to Formula E to basically rot and have his career die away, hasn't he? And
yeah.
I hope that he's able to get it onto pole position today, because I think, again, Dan Ticktum needs to impress. He's in a Neo, which means that he was criminally perhaps undervalued last season. I don't think people quite appreciate, particularly looking at it through an F1 lens, how much of a difference being in that Neo has made for him over the last couple of seasons. Well, I say over the last couple of seasons, he's only been in it for a year, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think he needs to have a strong showing, and he also needs to mount a challenge here. Otherwise, again, he's in danger of his career dying a death in Formula E, which I'm afraid to say has happened to quite a few drivers on this grid.
It has indeed. It has indeed. As they come through then, we're getting ready for the start of the next session coming up shortly as well. Quarterfinal number 1 then, we'll see Dan Ticktum and Oliver Rowland face off against each other. Rowland was second in Group A. Ticktum was down in third in Group A. So they've been matched up together for this next session. And the green light is on. They'll be released at 20-second intervals as well and sent out there on the circuit. I can see a flag billowing. Whether or not that's actually going to mean we're anywhere near getting ready for the start of this session, I have no idea, because it's not actually working, our TV pictures. Rowland now gets released onto the circuit as well. And what do you expect, Tom? A nice flow session, or is it going to be quite pedal to the metal, flat out, nobody wants to give an inch?
Well, I think you've got to be reasonably flat out, haven't you? The cars get pumped up to 350 kilowatts. And I think here, again, there's so much pressure on Dan Ticktum, who needs a really good qualifying session. He needs a good run of results. Otherwise, again, he's really going to harm himself and his career, really. So there's so much pressure on the shoulders of Dan Ticktum. And to be fair, most of the pressure has been put on by himself, by, how he acted in Formula 2. But I really think it does start here. It really does. He's got to be so strong.
We're about to find out then what is going to be the run of the land as the first lap time gets underway here as well. Onto the board as well. It'll be Ticktum first. Rowland is second behind him as well. We've got some TV pictures, but not many out there at the moment. So we'll try and sort out things as much as we can and hopefully not miss too much of the action, Tom. But it's a good first sector from Ticktum as Rowland's now started his.
He has. Here goes Rowland.
He's down a little bit of tense, isn't he, at the moment, in the first sector. Now he's catching. 6,000's behind at the moment as they come back through the last couple of corners. Ticktum, however, is onto the start line and hasn't lost the rear of the car so far, so he hasn't done one more tire he did earlier. Rowland's there too as well. He's catching 2/10 back, so Ticktum might have this one in the bag in the first duel of the season. Well, the first over here in Duel. It's a double-header weekend, which means we've got to put up with YouTube again tomorrow, but still, that's another factor to consider as they continue pushing hard into the last corner then. Ticktum's time on the board is a 109.593. And that is 4/10 quicker than Rowland. Rowland's had a stinker here, Tom. He's down so much.
He just seems to be struggling. In fact, he's overdriving the car ever so slightly. He looks so nervous on him. Even on the brakes here, down into this final corner, he can't really get in a massive slide.
Wow.
Actually, from Oliver Rowland, he crosses the line 110.1, and a lot of that time was lost in how he was just unable to keep a handle on the car.
Victory then in the first duel goes the way of Dan Ticktem. He progresses through to the semi-final. And they've actually... Who's that? He's behind. It's Jake Hughes in the McLaren. And Hughes looks like he's had some damage, Tom, because he's got a banner on him, look. He's got... Oh, look at that. It's debris.
It's disintegrated.
So that is the second
car's
group.
okay.
Yeah, so it's Degrassi versus Hughes, but Hughes has had something go wrong with it massively.
You might have just scraped a barrier or something trying to get out of the way of Ticktem or something. I'm not too sure. Is crossing the line is Degrassi. He starts his qualifying lap down into turn 1. Looks pretty tidy. Actually, there's a bit of a squirm from Degrassi.
I can't tell if he touched the wall or not as well, but he hasn't stopped according to the driver tracker, I don't think. No, he hasn't. 15.887, first sector for Degrassi as well. Hughes continuing to power through as well at the top. We're watching two different monitors as our main pictures have failed up here in the commentary box as well. Hughes is glancing off those curves brilliantly. He's ahead, Tom, by 0.3 of a second. Degrassi not having a good lap.
No, and I think, again, that squirm, maybe it's a symptom of this Mahindra. Maybe they haven't got it set up correctly for either of their drivers. Degrassi's catching, 0.3 of a second, 2.5 of a second now. Hughes needs to really start to just push that little bit more to try and avoid being caught too much. Degrassi, though, starting to look a little bit more tidy through Sector 2 and into Sector 3 now. We'll see what he can do across the line, rounding the final corner now, Josh.
Having a push to the line then. Degrassi's time is a 1:10.052, but Hughes is faster. So that's not the 1:09.5 we saw from Dan Ticktem, has looked on fire all weekend long. Hughes deals with it with ease, though. Crossing the last corner. Up by 3.5 tenths across the line. Hughes goes top, 1:09.713. So it's down on Ticktem's time, but that's not bad at all. 7.93 across the board, both doing 1:09s. And, well, that's 2 now coming from the second half of the track. Those who go last seem to go quicker, as it's Evans and Buemi in the third group.
We'll wait and see. This is going to be a really good matchup, isn't it, Evans and Buemi? Well, am I right in saying they were the two that topped their respective sessions?
Evans, no, Hughes and Bird, but Buemi and Evans second and third last time out. So Evans was third, Buemi second.
A little bit of traffic, actually, as Degrassi gets out of the way of the brightly green liveried Buemi car.
Yeah, get out of the way. You don't need to put it on the circuit there as well. Hopefully looking quite good. On board with Evans. And that's the wrong graphic that we're showing right now, because they've opened up the Hughes-Degrassi battle. Not the one we need to see. They've taken it away now as well as they continue to push hard. Hopefully, our timing monitors might actually work shortly as well. We've got some sort of lap time as Evans comes with Buemi through the first couple of corners. 22.6 is the first sector. And Evans is ahead of Buemi in the first mini-sector by 2 tenths. Buemi's lost so much time already.
He has, and he's hemorrhaging time, actually, as Evans is still gaining and gaining and gaining. 2.9 tenths for Buemi. He has caught a little bit of a mistake from Evans, has lost him a tenth of a second. Here goes Buemi. I think he might just be able to catch him. He's still catching and catching and catching as they come up to Sector 3.
Pushing hard then. The gap is now 53 thousandths of a second. It was Evans fast in Sector 1. Buemi was fast in Sector 2. So they are changing between them at the moment. Into the last corner of this qualifying run then. Mitch Evans, his first time on the board, completes with a 1:10.039. Buemi is just behind him across it as well. Into the last couple of corners for him. He's up at the moment by a tenth and he's past him. 0.171 the difference. Is Buemi going to get through to the semi-final as well across the line? Yes, he's done it by 2.5 tenths of a second. It is Buemi through and Evans out of it.
The Sector 2 and Sector 3 on that lap was absolutely unbelievable. To come down from a tenth or so off to then go and lead by a tenth and a couple of tenths of a second, it's incredible from Sebastian Buemi, and that is how you get yourself through to a semi-final.
Buemi is going to be very happy with that one as well. It certainly looks like they are. Quarterfinal 4 coming up then as well. The green light's already gone on. It's Rene Rast in the Neo McLaren versus Sam Bird in the Jaguar TCS Racing as well. Germany versus Britain, but Britain versus Britain in terms of teams as well with Jaguar. Although Jaguar is technically part Indian now as well, isn't it, since they bought it a couple of years ago. So it's they'll have their home race in Hyderabad next, well, actually not next time, next but one, because there's a double header here in Diriyah. The next country we go to, round 4, will be in India as well. And they're all looking a bit nervous now at the moment, as our TV pictures that me and Tom have on, we're not even looking at them because they're around about 2 minutes behind as well. So we're not even taking a look at them. We've got YouTube open on our separate computers with the live action. First sector times, though, it's very close. 52 thousandths between them, and it's Bird ahead of Rast.
Rene Rast might just find himself getting back into Sector 2 and Sector 3, though. Here he goes, catching 200ths of a second, as I suspected, down into Sector 3 now. Then Rene Rast, and he needs an absolutely huge marker. McLaren's second race in Formula E, only the second time in this qualifying session as well, of course. 100th of a second. Bird is ever so slightly ahead, but it's so slender margins, Josh.
Yep, Rast then will be the first one to cross the line. He's already behind Bird, who's catching him again. The second one seemed to have it. Cross the line. Rast has a 109.558, so he is the fastest runner in qualifying. But Bird has topped qualifying already with the Group B, and he does it again by a 10th. It's a 109.558, exactly the same actually. It's Rast goes into second. So Bird is fastest to cross it as well, and he goes through into the semi-finals. So it is going to be Ticktum, Hughes, Buemi and Bird going through. Every single one of them, Tom, coming from the ones who were released second out onto the track.
Yeah, I'm surprised by Bird, actually, because he didn't look totally on top of the car throughout that Sector 3. Kroon was mentioning in that little skypad, I know it's not a skypad, but in the skypad thing that he was doing in between the sessions, and he was talking about how aggressive Sam Bird he has been on the wheel and keeping those lines very, very tight, and sometimes that can work against you, but Sam Bird seems to have this right in the window at the moment. So 2 semi-finals coming up, Hughes, Ticktum, Buemi and Bird, of course, going through into the final, the winners of those. This is going to be quite enthralling, because I think Ticktum and Bird both looking pretty strong in this one.
Yeah, this is going to be very entertaining. So Ticktum, Hughes, as you said, and then Bird, Buemi. And whoever wins both goes through to the final with an opportunity for the 3 points on offer as well. I've got no idea what is going to happen. Honestly, Bird, I think, is my top tip for pole position here. I think Ticktum and Bird, the two who topped practice 1 and practice 2, have been fast all weekend long.
Do we have to fill for 8 minutes for the qualifying to
No, because we'll go down to Nikki with Oliver Rowland.
But just missing out to Dan Ticktum, who seems to be on fire today.
Yeah, no, I think first of all, pretty happy to be in the Duels. It's been Mexico was tough on my side, great for Lucas, but even yesterday was difficult, but we slowly improved over the couple of days. So I was happy to be in the Duels. Dan did a great lap. I don't really know where the lap time is because mine wasn't too bad, but congrats to him. But overall, just happy to have made a good step.
I mean, it's great progress from where you've come from in Mexico City. Has anything particular changed, or is it you just getting to grips with the new Gen 3 car?
No, a lot's changed. They're quite complicated cars with all the systems, software and all that sort of stuff. So we were going in completely different directions. I think we understood some good stuff from Lucas. And then also last night we understood some more good stuff, and then it seems to be getting better and better all the time. So yeah, I'm pretty happy on that side, and for sure there's more to improve as well.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thanks very much. We'll see if we can grab a quick word with your teammate, Lucas de Grassi. Lucas also making it through to the Duels. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was not ideal quality, but P7, I think I take it after this morning.
Okay. Excellent. So what is the strategic plan now going into the race? Because it seems rather unpredictable which cars are going to be on top at the moment. You know, some of the, great to see the Jaguar TCS guys doing well. Yeah, what are your predictions?
To be honest, I don't really care about the others. I need to improve my car. That's my focus, to try to make the car slightly better every session, every time, every corner, every little detail, and then see where we end up. In Mexico, we were ahead. Here we are P7. which we still can score good points from there. We're going to try our maximum.
Oliver was just saying that they've really relied on the data that you got from your car in Mexico City.
Yeah, everybody's understanding the car. It's a new car, new tires, new conditions. This track is very, very different from Mexico in terms of tire energy, in terms of time of the day, track temperature, air temperature, everything. So it's a bit of a guess of what you need to do. You can simulate, you can learn, but the most important is to improve every time. Is that, for us in Mahindra, the most important? Like consistently get better race by race and be one of the contenders in every single race.
Excellent. Thanks, Lucas. Well, hopefully you can keep up that pace, as obviously, as Lucas was saying, temperatures will be getting cooler as we head into the race later this evening. Thanks.
Yeah, certainly
Jack.
will, and that's something that's really interesting about how they're trying to sort of not exactly guess their way through the session, but something like that. Anyway, as we get ready for the first semi-final.
That's coming up shortly as well.
So, we are about to get going with the semi-finals. Jake Hughes versus Dan Ticktum, Sebastian Buemi versus Sam Bird in the second
5
round
minutes
of
to
the
go,
ABB
though.
FIA Formula E World Championship.
We were watching an onboard of Ticktum's lap there during the interviews with the Mahindra boys, and he just looked so confident in the car. Like it was almost a perfect lap. I mean, it's never perfect, but there's always room to improve. But it looked so smooth, and he's very patient to attack the throttle. He's waiting for the car to rotate.
Just hearing on boards.
Bird in the car. He's in the second semi-final. So I guess you don't really have time to get out between the quarterfinals and the semi. Well, maybe you do, but maybe you just don't want to, I suppose. How are you getting in a car and stuff? Do you have a lot of rigmaroles? Do you want to be in there a long time beforehand? Can you just hop in and go? What was your vibe?
I tend to think too much, so I found it better to jump in at the last minute.
I've seen no evidence of that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I never liked sitting in the car by myself.
Yeah.
If I had something to look at, some data to look at, some notes, or you know, a conversation with my engineer to keep myself focused, that was always preferred.
Okay, so
for myself.
Okay, so you're like a last minute jump in the car, let's go kind of guy.
Okay, well, fingers crossed. This seems to be working again, Tom.
It seems to be working.
Yeah.
You know, I think actually, ask you a very good point about overthinking in racing. It's very easy to do, even at karting. You know, you sit in the car for, I don't know, 10 minutes waiting for a race, and every little delay you start to overthink things. I mean, it's stupid things like, I mean, there's an old story, and I promise I'll circle this tangent back.
Oh,
but there's an old story in tennis where they say, the best way to get into your opponent's head is to go up to them and say, do you breathe in or out when you serve? And the point is, it makes them overthink. They sit there, and rather than focusing on the serve, they go, am I breathing in or out? And you can sort of circle it back to racing, because when you're sat in the car and you've got so much pressure on you of heading into a race, and even only in Formula E, I mean, I suppose it's probably a little bit more pronounced at Le Mans, a little bit more pronounced at, you know, the Monaco Grand Prix, but you can always sit there and you can always overthink things. Like, how am I breaking into turn one? You know, past a point where it's healthy to think, how am I breaking into turn one? You know, to the point you think, actually, I've just got to sit here, I've just got to relax, put my music on, and remember that the second you go, you're going to get the feeling back in the car. And I think it's an interesting point for Askew to bring up, the fact that he's having to rely on conversation with his engineer, reading notes and things like that, just to avoid that overthinking that can plague you in pretty much any sport.
Yeah, and it was going well, but we'd lost the pictures again, which is always fun as well. But they have come back, so hopefully it might catch up. I must just say, our wonderful new graphics as well. You can see with the black and white background as well. Tom provided us with as well, so thank you for that, Tom. As well. I know you're working on a JSON file or something or other. As well for some things, but wonderful background because it adds a lot. I love it.
Say it's looking quite nice. I'll have to send you those animated frames next. You can put those in.
Yes,
They're
they are
very
next. They're next.
Nice.
But, yeah, go on.
I'm excited for the Formula One this year with you. It looks like it's going to be very, very fun. And are you doing Le Mans as well this year?
Yeah, doing Le Mans as well. Megan's taking some of the MotoGP that weekend. I think even I'm going to get you down to do some of the MotoGPs. Tom's sort of going to become, alongside Megan, who's going to be a bit busier. Megan's got, obviously, she's going to be very busy towards the end of the summer as well, as is Tom, I know that. But hopefully as well, with there's so much going on this year, I can't physically do it all. So as well as Megan, who will lead some sessions, Tom's also going to lead some sessions as well and take over. Most notably, Tom, you're going to be hosting a couple of the IndyCar pre-shows and being on the commentary, and also you get the honour, you get to host the last race of the year, Abu Dhabi Formula 1. You get to host the pre-show while I commentate on MotoGP and join us for the final.
That's great fun. I'll definitely help you out with Le Mans because I'm very excited. I'm also excited. Well, we've got a little bit of film. I know it's not unfortunate on USRN this year. It was last year, but they Daytona 24. I'm very excited for that tomorrow. That's going to be a very, very good race.
Believe it or not, I did look at the opportunity, at the possibility. Could I do it on YouTube? Their YouTube channel. Could it be possible? But it wasn't possible to do another 24 hours. I just thought short notice getting the team together, but. Hopefully, we'll still do some NASCARs as well coming forward.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I was sat there and a bit like you, I was like, could we get a team together?
Yeah.
But it's NFL playoffs, so Matthew and a lot of the Americans aren't going to be available. I'll be available for most of it, but I'm not even fancy commentating for 24 hours straight, so I know you probably would. Anyway, to circle it back, they're on to track. It's Hughes and Tixon first, and this is going to be a spectacular semi-final.
Yep, semi-final number 1 getting underway. Our pictures have started working, so I've tried something that hopefully might make it work. So we're keeping our fingers crossed here. I mean, Tom, we'll have a word just after qualifying, because I think there's a way that it might be possible, and you'll understand what I'm thinking after this as well. As they come onto the circuit, I'm going to stop it now and hopefully not freeze it. Hey, we've got TV pictures. Well, hey, so away we go. We'll swap back over then to the graphical feed. Tictum and Hughes the first out as well. Now, both won their time, but Tictum did a 109.593 on his run. Hughes was a 109.793. So they were in exactly the same decimals, but Hughes was precisely, Tom, 0.2 of a second slower than Tictum.
Remember last year when we had that identical lap time? Or was it the year before? I can't remember how long this qualifying format's been in play, but
last year,
it messes with the brain as these television pictures are useless once again. I'm just going to rely on the YouTube now and hope that it works.
Me too. It's not too far behind, but he keeps lagging, so I'll just leave it on for the audio. But Hughes starts his lap time then as well, in towards turn number 1. Right behind him is Tictum. They're not that separated by that much. I thought they were. There's only about 5 seconds between them. Usually, Tom, there's like 20. So Hughes has backed up massively on that last lap.
And more importantly, he's up through the first couple of corners, but he's squirrely. He touched the wall as well. That's going to give Dan Tictum a massive advantage. Not too great, though. 2,000th of a second.
Oh, so this is really entertaining stuff. Tictum as well in his first time. There we go. Look, he's 0.226 up. So Hughes making the mistake and touching the wall has cost him dearly. He did it coming down through the June section as well. We're just having a look at it again on the TV pictures. Just too close to the wall. The lightest of kisses. Looking not to get a puncture as well. He's only got 2 sets of these hand-cooked tyres. And now Tictum is up by 0.2 of a second again. He's going to go through to the final. Tictum might just get his first pole position. I'm just having a look on the board. Never had a pole ever. His best grid position, Tictum, was 5th. Already he's higher. Into the last corner. Go on, Tom.
500th of a second, 1.8 temps now as he crosses the line. 109.7. Tictum has beaten that today so far, but he's spun it! And he's just held on to it, but it's 4 temps. It's too much, and Jake Hughes is going to go through into the final of the qualifying session interior, and Dan Tictum's thrown it away.
I can't, he's done something Dan Tictumish, I suppose, by throwing away the last corner. Massive amount of oversteer. I'm surprised he didn't hit the wall. Let's take another look at it. So he's coming into the last corner, too much curb, unsells the rear, and he just misses the Tech Pro barrier. But that drift cost him 0.5 of a second. Hughes goes through and he will be in the final versus either Sebastian Buemi or Sam Bird, who is about to head out there. That was exciting stuff. This qualifying format does not disappoint, does it, Tom?
Well, every cloud has a silver lining, and Tictum did well not to hit the wall there, but that was bitterly disappointing. You know, the worth of the YouTube feed is that I can actually now see the replay of what happened, because I don't have time to show it on the screen. It might just be a case, you know, if he went offline, or maybe even he went a little bit cocky or something. I don't know. I'm disappointed for Dan Tictum. It seems to be the story of his career. So close but so far. No, he hit the curb.
Yes, yeah.
He hit the curb awkwardly.
Well, there you can hear the cheers, but here we go again for the semi-final number 2. Bird's already out there on the lap time, and he's up by 0.115, but Buemi is catching him. Now, we've delayed Bird's pictures on this, so I think, actually, no, we've delayed Buemi's pictures, so we are live with Bird, and Buemi is delayed on the overall speed, so that's going to be quite hard to tell, but Buemi's ahead in the middle sector, 18.7. At the moment, and he's catching him. So Buemi is still on the field here. He's not going to go away. Both coming down the start-finish straight as well. And what's the second sector time? Yeah, it's looking quite quick. Buemi's lap time, I can tell you, is a 1:09.366. We're waiting for Sam Birds now as well. Who will be in the final? Will it be Bird or Buemi? Into the last corner we come. Bird accelerates hard. They both get it good out the last corner. Bird doesn't do it! He's down! 1:09.462! It's Buemi in the final! Sebastian Buemi is into a qualifying final for the first time in over 3.5 years! Buemi has a shot at pole position! Unbelievable stuff! Buemi, the king of poles, who has 14 to his name, might be able to get his first 15th in over 3 years. This is going to be interesting, Tom. Oh, come on, Seb,
I didn't have him down as winning that duel, actually. I thought Bird honestly looked much the better driver. And to be honest with you, I think it was just a good lap from Buemi. I didn't see any mistakes from Bird, really. I think just a case of being bitterly unlucky. But, well, qualifying final coming up next. Jake Hughes versus Sebastian Buemi. That is going to be practically unbelievable. This could also be McLaren's first pole in Formula E.
Yeah, that could, yeah. We're about 9 minutes away from seeing that final, by the way, so we'll throw down for some pit interviews as well. Just to quickly inform you as well, as our TV pictures finally work up, into the pit lane comes Buemi. That was the first time this qualifying duel that the first driver out kept the time. Usually it was the driver in second out who always went faster, but Buemi's the first one to do so. So, quarterfinals then. Tictum beat Roland, Hughes beat Degrassi, Buemi beat Evans, and Bird beat Rast. In the semi-finals, Hughes beat Tictum, and Buemi beat Bird, which means it's Hughes and Buemi into the final here. And every time I see those graphics, Tom, nowadays, I'm always reminded of Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Don't know why, it's just that Miami feel to them.
And to have a look at that, 109.4 for Sam Bird, he would have won the other semi-final, which is bitterly disappointing, I think, for him. It just shows how fast Buemi was. Obviously, that also means that Buemi would have won the other semi-final, so he's a couple of attempts faster than Hughes.
Nikki?
Missing out, though, on getting through to the next stage. Unfortunately, Sebastian Buemi managed to make up the pace in the second and third sector.
Yeah, no, full credit to Seb. Yeah, the first half of the lap was okay. I made a couple of mistakes towards the end, which I'm kicking myself for, but you got to put the lap together. So yeah, I'm obviously a little bit disappointed because I've been sort of top 3 throughout both practice sessions, and to be honest, all the Jaguars are working well. So to be knocked out this early is frustrating. But I have another go tomorrow. We've got the race obviously later this afternoon, so tonight. So yeah, it's definitely better than where we were in Mexico, which is obviously a positive.
You seem a little bit deflated. Is there a reason for that?
No, I just want more, right? I'm a normal. I think racing drivers, you always want to be at the front. If you're not satisfied. So and I just think there's more potential than starting 8th or 9th or wherever I'll start. So is what it is.
And given the nature of the track, do you think we're going to see more mistakes being made in the course of the race from all the drivers?
Yeah, I mean, this car is definitely challenging us a lot, so you'll probably see a few more mistakes. Hopefully not from me, but yeah, it is tricky to put a whole race together, a whole lap together. So yeah, hopefully we have a clean race. But yeah, I think you'll start to see maybe a few mistakes from guys, and obviously this track is as unforgiving as it is, even with Gen 2. it's like a one racing line. It's challenging to get it right. So yeah, let's see what we got.
What position are you going to be happy with at the end of this race?
You know the answer to that.
And the win, of course. Yeah, all right, shouldn't have asked that. Well, always good to see both the Jaguars making it through to the duel. Hopefully things are starting to turn to their advantage now.
Don't know how that happened, but during that segment as well with Nikki, the TV pictures that started off ahead have now dropped a second behind again, which is really bizarre. It's 5 o'clock, which means that the final is getting ready. I'm just hearing a car drifting in the background. I hope that was a replay. But this is going to be interesting, Tom, as I'll stand up now in the box, because the final session starts at 17:05, so it's been an hour and a half of this qualifying already. It will be about 1 hour 40 in total. The format works. The timing, though, need work, because it's just, you're sat here for ages for qualifying.
I don't understand how you can whip through the quarterfinals so quickly, then have to wait some arbitrary 10 minutes in between the next two. There must be some reason for it, because it just feels a bit silly. What's even more silly now, it wouldn't be me coming on to one of these more minor series without me complaining about the television pictures at least once. And I have to say, Countdown is on Channel 4, and we're forced to watch it on YouTube.
I know, it's ridiculous. And what's on Eurosport right now, where they could be showing it on Eurosport 1 or Eurosport 2, and it's all over the place. I know it is available on the Eurosport player, but we tried that in Practice 1 Mexico, and it was, would you like to know? 1 minute and 30 seconds behind the live timing. So it was Josh who taught us the ×2 trick for the YouTube, because that's 40 seconds back. That usually gets us up. Let's hear from Bormy.
Season 2 champion.
And Seb, the tyres are again in a very similar condition to the previous lap.
Okay, so the tyres in a similar position, says Bormy. Thankfully, though, later on, Eurosport will be showing the main race, which means me and Tom can relax and just commentate later and not have to be technical engineers. Go on.
In fairness to Eurosport, they have got cross-country skiing and snooker on, so they can't really fit it on. And I think it's fair to say that snooker and cross-country skiing takes precedence over Formula E.
Yeah.
Maybe not for motorsport fans, but in terms of general importance for Eurosport, I think we'll give them a pass.
I do, however, think there should be a Eurosport 3 and a Eurosport 4, if BT Sport can do it. Or, that's the point, Discovery is now, and Warner Brothers, they now own BT, so why can't Formula E go to BT Sport and we can have all the sessions there like we used to? Because when it was on BT, it was brilliant.
Because I don't have BT, so...
Yeah, but you would have been commentating... Yeah, you would have been commentating with me, though. I would have had the screen.
Shh. Not allowed to say that.
That reminds me, I've got to give you the login details for the Sky Go stuff, hasn't it? Because you're covering some of the sessions this season. Yeah, I don't know what you're covering yet, Tom, but because not all the data's been put out. But I know there's quite a bit this year that I'm going to need you to do some hosting for as well. But the reason why Tom does it is because Tom is the only one who's got a PC that can do all the graphics and everything, because he's done it for USON. So we've had trial runs. How long to go? 2 minutes until the final. I mean, we just have this. Why so long? Why 10 minutes?
Though we say trial runs, I did almost miss the championship point at the US Open.
That's
so that would have been slightly embarrassing.
That's true, yeah. But at least it
I think
works.
I think we had a similar issue with the 100, actually. Not that anyone cares about the 100 final, but I think I always missed the last 5 balls. And oh dear, that was almost a nightmare.
9 minutes. Oh, no, it's still there. Okay, it just glitched. Yeah, I'd say one thing as well, Tom. Do you remember Formula 3, Zandvoort? The fact that my computers would not start, and with the first couple of laps had to be done via Tom on a timing screen. So that's why Tom's got... Actually, I sent you all across all the files, didn't I? So you've got the Formula 3
graphics.
Yes. Yeah, thought so. And everything. So that keeps getting updated. So you have to send it to Tom.
Download selectively. It is like 30 gigabytes. So
yes, it's a very big thing. Although I think 23 of that at least is the Formula.
It's the videos,
It's the videos, yeah, for all the Formula E stuff and Formula 1 stuff. Sorry, all the lap guides and everything. Which you don't need all of them, but there are some there that keep getting dropped in. Basically, if I'm ever it's so much easier having a team than just me, which is all I'm just saying with that one. As well. Even Megan's stepping in to host some things. In fact, I think Megan's commentating on a Formula 1 sprint race when I do London Formula E. So Belgium, I think that is. So it's all up in the air. Finals time then here. Hughes and Boemi coming up in about 28 seconds time. they'll head out onto the track. Thing is, though, we've waited 10 minutes. We've filled time. But they're going to be out there for about 3 minutes, and that's it. Nothing happens after that. So it needs cutting down, or we need some interviews with the drivers. I don't know why Nicky doesn't go into the garages of Buemi and Hughes and has a word with them mid-session. That would be quite interesting to hear.
You know, I made a promise to myself after being absolutely bored out of my brain in Mexico that I wasn't going to come on here and slate Formula E. I was going to have an open mind and suggest that maybe Mexico was just, you know, just an outlier. Maybe I can give these Gen 3 cars another chance, but... So, I'm going to pass comment.
There it is. Away we go for the final. Here in Duia, the sun beginning to set. Track temperature is at 18 degrees, air temperature at 16 degrees, 2 kilometers an hour, wind, 44% humidity as well, as the cars head out onto the circuit now. I would love it if Hughes got his first pole in just his second race, but then again, I also want Buemi, who's got the most poles. Actually, no, Vern. Vern's got 15 poles, and Buemi has 14.
How do you know that?
Point, by the way, in the Channel 4 YouTube chat is that maybe these long gaps are because they need spare time if there's a long red flag at any point.
That's a good point, yeah. That's a point. If there is a long delay, they can still keep everything shortened, which might make sense as well. We did have a 7-8 minute delay, so and that was why the quarterfinals went by quite quick, I think, as well. So they have shortened up the time a little bit.
Good point.
Oh, they're all looking on, isn't he? James Barkley keeping an eye out. Envision. This is important though. First, this is Buemi's second race with Envision. Hughes' second race with McLaren. He starts his lap time now as well. Who will be on pole position? Vern has 15 poles to his name. Buemi has 14. So Buemi could match Vern for the most poles in Formula E history. I didn't spot that earlier because my mouse was covering Vern's name on the timing sheets. First sector for Hughes is a 22.531. And Buemi has just started the lap time. Through the first mini sector though, Hughes is ahead by 1/4 of a tenth. That's amazing at the moment, Tom.
So close. It's about half a tenth now. Catching though is Buemi, 0.003 of a second through the next mini sector. Here's sector 1, was right on the bubble with Jake Hughes, who is now accelerating away 1/10 through the next mini sector.
And he's already ahead, as you say, to Buemi, so that's a big gap between them. Sebastian Buemi, who we're watching now, has to really throw something special at it as well. Can he close the gap? He has. He's going back down again. 0.050. It's half a tenth away. Hughes at the last corner as well. Is he going to take his first pole position in Formula E? The banker lap time is made, and it's a 109.495. Not the quickest we've seen here today, but it certainly could be good enough. Buemi, though, is he going to be on pole position for the first time in 3 years? Is he going to be on pole position for the first time with Envision? Is it number 15 out of the last corner? Sebastian Buemi across the line. He's on pole. He's done it. A 109.495. He is 600ths faster, and he's done it. Sebastian Buemi, for the first time since I think about season 4, is on pole position.
Fantastically driven laps. Buemi radio.
It doesn't get closer than that.
Yes, he's going to be happy here.
Buemi has not won a race, since New York City 2019. That was his last win. His pole was way before that. The man who dominated the poles in Formula E back in season 2, taking 9 of the 12 poles that year. This is unbelievable race back at it. And Hughes starts second on the grid, Tom. This is going to be an interesting race later.
No, 300th of a second is genuinely at the point where the rubber laid down could make that difference. That's how close these two guys are. I mean, I might be exaggerating ever so slightly, but the point still stands. That was incredibly close. And you think about it, given how attack modes are and energy management still in these Gen 3 cars, despite how we were supposed to have fast charging and that never materialised, it could easily go either way here, is my point. Down into turn 1 is definitely going to be spicy. And if there's any safety cars or anything, well, the added laps could be crucial.
Yeah, just give you the information on that. It's going to be, I think I've got the information here from the FIA. It is going to be a 39-lap race. You get 40 kilowatts of energy for the entire race as well. Added laps, a maximum of 3, and that is 13 minutes and 19 seconds spent under the safety cars. So that's how long we can have. But there are gaps, obviously, as to how many added laps you will have. In terms of power modes, 2 activations, 4 minutes in total. You can either attack mode in 1 minute or 3 minutes, 2 and 2 minutes, or 3 minutes and 1 minute across it as well. Race later on getting underway. Our time, it will be at 5 p.m. We're on here at 4:30 GMT. If you're over there in Saudi Arabia, we're on here at 7:30 with the lights out at 8:04 as well. So we're just waiting for the full grid to come out, and hopefully we'll hear as well. James bouncing at the moment, so I don't know what's happened there with the 39 laps. We're back. So don't know what happened there. We just went red for a second on our OBS chat. I think there was a bit of interference from the FOM guys as their graphics came on again. So sorry about that. They've switched over to the race timings. I think it just glitched our OBS because everything's fine. I never got a notification that we dropped out. So we've got the full grid. Let's take. I thought we were going to take a look at it there, but we're looking at Sam Bird now, Tom. Just giving a bit of fist bumps. He starts 3rd on the grid. So that's a big improvement. Jaguar were sort of ready to throw the season away. In fact, we all said, is it time that, and even you said it today, Sam, Tom, it's time that Sam, so maybe either tries a different team or goes away from Formula E. He's proving us all wrong by going 3rd today.
Yeah, he looks a little bit too happy with it, though, for my liking, and so can the Jaguar squad as well. I don't know. I always think when you finish 3rd, you get into 3rd in a qualifying session. You shouldn't be there. I mean, to be fair, he's kept his celebrations reasonably mute, but I don't know. I just think it almost shows, it almost projects to me that you're maybe a little bit too far away.
Nicky's with Dan Tickton.
Making it through to the semi-final. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, 1 lap pace. Good in Mexico, even better here, to be honest. A little bit shame in the final duel there. I just slightly overcooked the braking on entry, and then I was slightly offline for the exit. I couldn't get the power down. Looked quite good on TV though. So.
You managed to save it.
Yeah, I just kept it out the wall. So yeah, pretty happy overall.
I mean, overall, yeah. Looking now into the performance of the car going into the race, what's the plan? What's the strategy? What position are you going to be happy with?
I think starts have been pretty strong, so I think I'd like to try and hold position, maybe get 1 at the start. I think our race pace is still slightly unknown. Looking at stuff back from Mexico, I think it might be a little bit more of a struggle than our 1 lap pace, but hard to really say. But yeah, I mean, if I can get some good points, top 5 tonight, would be great. Yeah.
There's less energy available for this race. We've reduced it from 41 kilowatts to 40 kilowatts. How's that going to affect racing?
I think a lot of people will be biasing energy to the straight because that's the main overtaking place. So I think there might be some awkward / aggressive moves in like the first sector between sort of 2 all the way down to 14. I think we'll see some lunges maybe because people will be saving a lot there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, good luck for the race. Thanks very much, Dan Tickton.
Okay, let's take a look then at the full results from qualifying and how they will line up on the grid. It is Sebastian Buemi who has taken pole position. He's 15th of his career. Let's hear from him now. He's talking down with Nicky Shields.
Sebastian Buemi, that was pure perfection. The performance of a previous champion, of course. How does that feel? 15th pole position.
Yeah, it feels great. I'm kind of emotional, even so it's just qualifying. Just because of the last 2 seasons, they've been so hard, so it's difficult to not start to doubt, Even so, it's just qualifying. I'm really happy because, I still got it somehow. So we'll see what happens in the race. But I think we've been there, the whole weekend so far. So it feels just good that I've been able to go through all those laps, without making mistakes.
Would you say this is one of your most emotional pole positions? Because it really felt like it meant so much to you and the team.
Yeah, no, definitely. Maybe season 5 was my last one. So, of course, it's a big one, in a new team. It's just my 2nd race with them. And, yeah, I think I would say it's the most emotional one.
Brilliant. Well, I'd now like to introduce Yves-Robert Charroux, the member of the executive board at Julius Baer, to present you with the pole position trophy.
Oh, there it is. The trophy being presented to him now.
pole position.
It is Sebastian Buemi on pole position for the ABB FAA Formula E Season 9, Round 2 of the Cordelia E-Prix. Here's the official results then, as well. Buemi on pole. Hughes is in second place as well. Bird third. Tickton fourth. Rast is fifth. Evans starts sixth. Degrassi is seventh. Eighth for Roland. Ninth for Verline. And Cassidy rounds out the top 10. Sergio Seta Camera in 11th. Jake Dennis is 12th. Jean-Eric Vernon 13th. DaCosta 14th. Lotterer 15th. Then 16th for Nominato, 17th Van Dorn, 18th Fenestraz, 19th Van der Linde. Very impressive, but of course because Motara crashed out, broke the rear suspension, Gunther hit the wall on the front, the suspension destroyed, and Muller didn't take part in qualifying. He starts 22nd on the grid. Okay, bringing Tom in now as well, as I've switched over to my handheld, so I don't know if I'm loud enough actually, I can't actually hear quickly. Tom, coming to you then, anticipation ahead of the race then later, 39 laps, it's going to be an interesting one when we get going at 5 o'clock tonight.
First of all, since when was Radzi from Blue Peter on the Formula E streams?
That's what I was thinking. I know he was on it last year, but it's like he's become a pit reporter now as well, so it's really weird seeing him outside the Blue Peter area.
Didn't expect that. But anyway, back to the question at the race. I'm quietly excited. Do you know, I thought Mexico honestly was dire. I didn't enjoy it at all. I thought this entire show was awful. I thought the race was absolutely terrible. I didn't enjoy it one bit. You know, there was maybe 2 minutes of exciting racing, and the rest of it just seemed bad. And I'm willing to give these Gen 3 cars another chance. And, you know, that qualifying session was very entertaining. I think there's some interesting storylines to follow throughout this race. So I'm going to remain hopeful. I'm not holding my breath that it's going to be an incredible race. But as I said, I'm willing to give these Gen 3 cars at least, I suppose at least 2 more chances over this weekend. But I can see something there.
There's something bubbling away under the surface as well. Hopefully we'll see it later on as well. Yep. Tom will be with me and for the race later on and the race tomorrow, where Nick Holm will be joining us as well in race 2. He's not with us for race 1 because it is a Friday. People are working as well. Very lucky that Tom has got on here for qualifying. He was supposed to be in a meeting, but it got cancelled, and then he missed the train, which is why he was late to Q1. But better late than never. It was nice to have you, Tom. Ed Hunter will be back with us though in Hyderabad in India in 2 weeks' time as well for the single race we have there as well. I think the real reason Ed doesn't like Saudi Arabia is because it's a double header as well, so it gets him out of work for a while. I'm only joking here before he starts commenting if he's in the chat. Okay, we'll be back then. Just a reminder what we've got coming up as well. Later on today, as I said, 4:30 GMT, we're on here for the build-up to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Then the race, we go green at 8:04 Saudi Arabia time. That's 5:04 here in the UK. Tomorrow, practice highlights again at 12 p.m. Qualifying once again from 12:35. The race, same time as it is today, 6:30 on air. Sorry, 4:30 on air with the lights out at 5. And also, you may have noticed as well that there is a Red Bull launch scheduled on the YouTube Live as well. That's because we're one of many streamers from around the world that have been given permission to stream the launch of the RB19 as well, Red Bull's new car for the F1 2023 season. That will be a live stream from New York City as well on the 3rd of February at 2 p.m. as well. I've given them access to the channel, so they'll go live as well, and I'll watch it with you launching a new car here on the YouTube channel. My thanks to you, Tom, and thanks to all of you for watching. We'll see you later on then for the Diriyah E-Prix with Sebastian Buemi on pole position for the first time since Season 5. Bye for now.